Hey Alex, so what can be tricky about these is that the x maybe kind of threw you off, or the theta rather than an x. If you want to rewrite it, as if you think of it, f of x equals 9 sine x minus x, that might make it easier, because when it says f prime of 0, you need f prime of x first. So we know that derivative of sine is just cosine, or maybe you didn't, so that's kind of a start. And the derivative of x is like derivative of 1x. It's actually just 1, and maybe that threw you off too, because the derivative of 1x is just 1. So there's your derivative. Now all you have to do is put 0 in there for that one, so f prime of 0. And then you do 9 cosine of 0. And if you use your calculator, if you use, we'll talk a little bit of trig review here shortly, but either way you look at it, the cosine of 0 is actually 1, and so this ends up being 9 times 1 minus 1, and so you get 8. So that's where that comes from. The deal is, a lot of folks forgot, theta is just another form of a variable, so you can treat it like an x. It means it's usually representative of an angle in a problem, so I just chose to write it as x maybe to make it more familiar, but theta wouldn't change any of the approach to the problem. And then you have that one down below here, same idea. So if you do g prime of pi, derivative of cosine is negative sine, so and a g prime of t would be, since derivative of cosine is negative sine, it ends up being a positive 6 sine t, and I hope I said the right thing. Derivative of cosine is negative sine, and that negative that you get from the derivative of cosine kind of combines with the negative 6 that's already there, so you end up with a positive 6. And the derivative of 3 is 0, so the derivative of that 3 ends up being 0. So this derivative is just positive 6 sine t, and that positive kind of looks like a t, doesn't it? Let me get rid of that. Okay, so that's 6 sine t. That's it. That's the derivative. So when it says g prime of pi, that means putting in the x variable from that point to get the slope of the tangent line. So you do 6 sine of pi, and if you use your calculator, you need to be in radian mode. That's a radian, and if you put it in degree mode, you'd get the wrong decimal out. But the sine of pi is something too you can do from the unit circle, which we'll review in a little while, so you can do these things by hand. But the sine of pi is 0, so this is 6 times 0, or 0. So that ends up being the result for that one. All right, that's the first two. I'll send those off to you. So let's see if I can put it in there. This one ended up being 8. And I gave you more time on the assignment, so you can tackle this and enter it if you like, and kind of work through some other questions you might have. Hang tight.